What I'm going to do in the next 10 minutes or less would be to explain just briefly, quickly, the basic contents of this report. As you can see from this description of the structure of the book, it talks about challenges of growth, inclusive growth, and quality of life. Quality of life is a very important concept in this study. Productivity and economic growth are of course important. Managing energy, water, and the environment, and financing, and regional and global cooperation. So these are the basic concepts of the study. Several key findings of the study include several points. There will be unprecedented progress in improving the quality of life of people in ASEAN, China, India by 2030. For example, 600 million people will be lifted out of extreme poverty, reducing the poverty ratio to less than 1% of the population by 2030. This is an impressive achievement. 2.65 billion people in ASEAN, China, India will become middle-class people by 2030, in comparison to 420 million people in 2010. Again, very, very impressive performance. In China, India, and ASEAN, respectively, more than 80%, almost 70%, and 65% of people are in the middle class. And then ASEAN, China, India economies will become leading consumers, producers, savers, investors, and financiers. Based on PPP calculation, per capita income for China will be about 26,000 US dollars, India about 11,000, and ASEAN about 12,000. And a combined GDP could quadruple, or comprising about 40% of world output in PPP and 28% in market prices. And the share of investment would rise to from 24% to 38%, a very heavily investing region. And the share of global consumption will rise from 11% to 27%. And demand for water and energy will surge. Primary energy demand will double, and dependence on imported oil and gas will grow significantly. And China's and India's annual water demand will increase by about 60%, and will exceed the supply capacity by 25% and 50% respectively, which is a big challenge. And then CO2 emissions will increase 2.5 times by 2030. And adverse global, there are two scenarios. One is a bad scenario, and the other one is a good scenario. According to the bad scenario, adverse global political and economic developments could undermine economic growth. For example, if flood and energy shortages and negative productivity shocks occur simultaneously, then income will be 1/3 below the baseline projection, cutting the growth rate on the average by 2 percentage points over the next 20 years, or close to 20 years. On the other hand, if reform and liberalization are pursued, leading to deeper regional and global economic integration, then income will be bigger by 5 to 13%. And then the financial sector will become larger, more complex, and more integrated by 2030. Bank deposits will more than triple, will account for 44% of global total. So Asians will be holding a lot of banking deposit. And private bank credit and stock market capitalization will triple, accounting for 33% of world share. And private bond markets will triple and account for 14% of world total. Would grow, but the bond market would continue to be relatively weak in comparison to other financial market instruments. And ACI's major currencies will be widely used and traded, in particular the PRC China's yuan. And then ACI, ASEAN, China, India economies will see a need for stronger and new regional institutions to accelerate regional integration and to address common interests. And ACI's expanded role in the world economy will likely lead to commensurate responsibilities in decision making in terms of providing leadership, public goods, various ideas, and financing to help solve regional and global problems. There are several common challenges, including adopting sustainable management of key resources and mitigating climate change, reducing economic and social inequality and exclusion, raising productivity and fostering innovation, further developing and deepening the financial sector, strengthening governance, accountability, and institutional effectiveness, and enhancing regional and global cooperation and integration. We take a look at various individual country challenges also, and ASEAN's collective challenges. Because of time, I don't want to go over these. We make several broad policy recommendations. One is to enhance the quality of life of citizens as ASEAN, China, India's overarching development goal. So here, inclusive growth and better governance, accountability, and effective institutions would be key. Second, to boost productivity by strengthening and expanding regional production networks, promoting innovation, and launching new growth strategies in services, high technologies, and agriculture. Third, to invest in human capital, technology, and R&D, and in seamless infrastructure. The fourth, to achieve environmental sustainability through green growth strategies. And fifth, to strengthen financial systems through liberalization and integration, particularly focusing on prudential regulation. Sixth, to achieve a highly integrated ASEAN economic community. Seventh, to provide regional and global leadership to ensure freer trade, more secure financial flows and markets, adequate clean energy, water, and food, and conservation of the environment. And the eighth, to ensure that the transformation is going to be harmonious and driven by pragmatic national policies supported by regional and global cooperation. We also provide a set of individual national policy priorities and a set of regional policy priorities. So in my concluding presentation, 6 key emerging regional institutions are recommended. The first is ASEAN plus 6 free trade agreement among the ASEAN, China, India countries, together with Japan, Korea, Australia, and New Zealand. Asian Environment Fund to help to finance the massive environmental improvement programs involving a large-scale investment across the region. The third is to create an Asian Monetary Fund to promote regional macroeconomic stability via regional surveillance, financial and technical assistance during a crisis, and coordination with the International Monetary Fund. The fourth is to create an Asian Regional Infrastructure Fund to address the regional infrastructure needs for energy security and connectivity. And the fifth is to create an Asian Financial Stability Dialogue to facilitate coordination and monitoring of regional financial system stability and improve regulatory effectiveness and country capacity. And finally, to create an empowered and reformed ASEAN Secretariat to implement the intra-ASEAN, ACI, ASEAN, China, India, and ASEAN plus 6 integration agendas more effectively with greater responsibility and accountability. Thank you very much for your attention.